Hey, good evening from Area 51 Raceway. So I'm going to go with soldering the front axle. So I used a shorter, how would you say, width as an example in the last video. So I've cut mine to size, and as you can see, it sits on the body pretty good where I want it, and I've pinned it and got the right size axle, and I'll show you what I've done. I've basically just cut a piece of the and this is the K&S stock number 1145, which will fit 3/32 axles exactly into it. So if you want to make a front axle, you can use K&S stock number 1145. Now what I've done was I've measured the back of this and I've locked this in place. See what the width is here, which is 66 millimeters even. I've done the same with the front. It's exactly 66 millimeters even. So that's how you kind of determine the width for the front and the back. And again, if you're making a particular car that the wheels are narrow in the front, then you can make it shorter. It's up to you how you build it. And this is how everything sits right now. And I made the little bending bracket, or excuse me, the say the bending bracket. I would say the front bracket to hold the axle up right here, as you can see. And this is a piece that I had earlier, and I said I wasn't going to use it, but I bent it a little bit, and it actually fits pretty good on there, and I'm going to leave it. I'm going to use it. Now, Amazon does have tools, and so does Micromark, but Micromark does sell these through Amazon, and these are the benders that I got from them, and they give you a set of 4. They're a little bit, I wouldn't say so pricey, about 50 bucks, maybe a little bit more than 50 bucks, and what's nice about these is that these really do bend nicely. You could use a pair of pliers if you're gifted with that. I would rather use these because I like how these grab them, as you can see, and then it'll do your bends. And this is kind of tough here. So I mean, it'll bend it for you however you want to manipulate it. And again, here's what I'm saying right there. What I'm showing you right there is how I bent that. And you can see it does a pretty good bend when you manipulate stuff around. Obviously, this is a shorter piece, so they're tougher to handle, but I'm just using this as an example to show you how you could do bends. And this is a really cool tool. It grabs it in between there, and it'll basically do your bends. I don't think I could do it with this short piece right there, but you could go on the end and then go down like that. See, I squeezed it, and then I can make my angle. You can see that. So these are pretty good. It's a set of 4 tools. They give you instructions of what they move around. Here's one that has some serrated edges on it that you could grab tube and kind of, whatever wire, smaller wire, and kind of mess with it. Then you have these ones that are flat, like channeled. So I mean, they have different ones, and then they have this larger one that's flat and channeled. And this is designed to mess with different type of brass pieces. You can use needle nose and all that stuff you want. I'm not telling you to get this, but I find this kind of easy for me to deal with, as I'm going to start doing modified soon. And if I get decent with that, I will do a video on that as well. I have to see how I'll do, because it'll be my first modified 132nd car, and then I want to do another version of it in 124 scale. So that's a whole nother project. But if you are looking at these, are from Amazon, they really work really well. I like them. But if you're comfortable with pliers and, flat needle nose pliers, and however you do it, that's fine too. If you do get the wire a little bit thinner, it does bend easier. Piano wire is very difficult to bend. I really don't mess with piano wire that much. You can bend it, but it takes a lot of strength and a bigger tool to bend it and manipulate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to solder this. I'm going to solder it on camera. As you can see, I pinned it here and here. You can see that. Oh, there it goes. It fell off. I'm going to have to pin that. You see, I got it right there. Let me pin that really quick, because I got some pins that I could use. And let me put some pins on there. These are brand new. I got recently. Let me put my spectacles on too, because I'm blind up close now. I used to be able to look at stuff 4 years ago. Now I can't even do that anymore. As you get old, it sucks. So we're going to do this. We're going to Pin that right there so it holds it up. And pin it over here. Closer. Right there, and then we could pin the front of it too. I don't know if you could see that. I'm trying to make it easier for you to see. So look, I'll put it like this so you can see how I got it pinned here, here, and then I'm gonna do it right here. Probably my big ass hand will be in the way. Okay, now you see I have that gut right there. So you kind of keep it in place, it's stable, won't move around. And also I have you can see I have the wheels also pinned front to back. And then I put them on the side of the wheel as well so they don't move around. So this ain't gonna move around because you have it set right there. So you could solder. So I pinned this too so I don't move the the little bracket I made for the front axle. And I made it a little high as I did that. Let me see if I could back it up just a little. I could be a little bit more flush. And there you go. And that should be fine right there. So I got everything in position. Pretty happy with it right there. Now here's the part where you're going to solder it, and right there. And this is where you add your acid flux, and then you use your iron on it. That's where I want the height of my axle to be. So let me get some stuff ready here. I hate that I have to resolder it after polishing this chassis, so I'm kind of like, it's gonna get flux all over it, so I'm gonna cover it up like this, and so I can at least have to worry about polishing that. But we don't want to burn anything down in your house, so we'll do this. And what I'm gonna do is, and I can always polish it again, but I'm just being lazy. I'll get my 6040 rosin solder and get this going here. I'm going to turn on my, turn on my iron and get her ready, and I should get some water onto this sponge, which I always forget. And go water on there. Got my spray. I can cool it off. Yep, my iron's just signaling it's ready to rock and roll. I will get cleaned up there. Yeah, nice and clean. And we'll get my solder. Well, actually, I gotta get my flux, so let me get my flux. So, I'm gonna grab my flux, and I'm gonna set this down from this little turntable stand because it's all crooked and a pain in the butt. I'm gonna put this down, and don't worry, I'm gonna tilt the camera down so you can see it when I do. Hope you can see that, folks. I don't know if I could turn it sideways. Hard for me to see what the hell I'm doing when I'm looking through the lens, so let me see, position this so you can see what I'm gonna do. I hope that's, man, tell you I should have a studio camera instead of doing it this way. Okay, so I hope you could see that, man. It's kind of difficult here. So you can also use your little rat tail file to also kind of hold it or push down or hold it, or however you feel you want to do stuff. Right there should be good. I'm going to get my flux. Dabble do. I'm going to start with this right here. Right there. I'm going to solder. I kind of make a bead of solder. I'll put some here to the side. On the side. And if you get a little on your tire, don't worry, just wipe it off because you are going to chew those anyway, so it's not going to, I don't think it'll kill it. I'm going to get my soldering iron and do this just like that. I'm going to go on the side here and solder this. Let it flow, not to get too close to my tire. There's one section. And then go over here and do this part. Let it flow, just like that. Go right here a little bit, right there, just like that, along the lines of it. You just be careful you don't burn your tire and it will flow because you have the flux. And there's that right there. Now you can see that's all soldered right there. I don't know if you can see it. God, I hope you can. And as you're looking at the solder, you're gonna, so on this end, I don't know if you could see it also, you could see how it flowed because you see it coming in from the other side and it flowed in there, and that's what the flux does. That's what's so great about the flux. Now, we'll do the top of the axle here. And again, you're not gonna melt anything because it's not really affecting anything, you know, to melt the tires. Not if you leave it on there for excessive amount of time, I mean a lot, then yeah, you're gonna melt stuff and get everything hot. I'm gonna do this part right here. Get a little bit to dab it around, make sure I kind of get a good amount so I know it's kind of on there. I'll do the same with the other side right here. Hope you can see this, folks. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. I'm just making sure I'm kind of make a little globby so it gets everything. And there you go. Your axle's on there. You could check it again, and if you need to move it, you don't freak out, man, if it's not right and, you know, the front wheel's like crooked, and then you're like, oh crap. You could always unsolder this and, you know, pull it off and move it around, whatever you need to do. That looks pretty decent there. I'm gonna grab this and show you. And that looks pretty good right there. It looks pretty even. So you can see the solder hot flowed all over. Excuse me, let me move it around. And that's on there. That's not going to go anywhere. It's not too hot now, so I mean, that's how you get your front axle soldered on. And there's the car, the profile of it. Now when you're done with all this part, which pretty much this chassis is basically completed.